Our cover story tonight is a contrast that exposes the fault lines in South Asia. The contrast between India and Pakistan. It's an old story with new chapters which are equally fascinating. Listen to this. Pakistan is the world's terror factory. India is the world's pharmacy. Pakistan is sending killing machines to India. India is sending life-saving drugs to Pakistan. This contrast becomes even more striking during a pandemic like this. Let me start with Pakistan. The coronavirus is taking lives there like in any other country. Pakistan has also been under lockdown. But there are two wings of the Pakistani state that are working overtime: the army and the terrorists. The Pakistan army is perhaps the only defense force in the world that's asking for a salary hike right now. And its terrorist groups are rebranding themselves. When the world is building masks, protection equipment, drugs and vaccines, Pakistan is giving its terrorist groups a makeover. A new group has surfaced in Jammu and Kashmir. It is being called the Resistance Front. Reports say this group was launched late last year. This was after the Indian government scrapped the special status for Jammu and Kashmir. Like I said, this is a makeover, an attempt to give Pakistan terror groups an indigenous face. The Resistance Front is being controlled by three top handlers of the Lashkar-e-Toiba. So why are the same terrorists using a different name? It's an attempt to evade international scrutiny, especially by the FATF, the Financial Action Task Force, the international terror funding watchdog. The deep state of Pakistan is taking advantage of the coronavirus outbreak. Ceasefire violations have peaked. Terrorists are trying to cross over, and terror cadres in the valley are coming under one banner. Pakistan is a basket case. It is exporting terrorism to India, and in return, it wants life-saving drugs. The Imran Khan government has given permissions to relevant departments to restart drug imports from India. Here is something you must know. Pakistan had banned imports, including many drugs from India last year. This was after India's Kashmir decision. Then Pakistan realized that this grandstanding was too costly. It needs Indian medicines after all. And with Imran Khan at the helm, how can any decision be made without some drama? The entire episode has exposed the confused state of affairs in Pakistan. Imran Khan cannot seem to decide how he wants to approach India. He wants to import the drugs, but he still wants to appear tough. How do you do that? The fact is, despite his ban, his country did not stop importing drugs from India. The ban was announced in August 2019. In the month of September, it was partially lifted. Within weeks, they realized they needed those drugs. Life-saving drugs were allowed into Pakistan. These were medicines for cancer, heart diseases, anti-rabies and anti-venin drugs used for treatment in hepatitis and liver-related ailments. But the government ban did not work. Reports say Pakistani companies were still buying around 450 different medicines from India. And this includes vaccines, vitamins, active ingredients and other drugs. According to Pakistani newspaper The Dawn, Imran Khan has ordered an investigation into what he calls illegal imports. At the same time, he's also lifted the ban. He had no choice, really. Pakistan has to rely on India for medical supplies. Even when Pak-sponsored terrorism hurt India and took the relationship to a new low, India never stopped medical assistance to Pakistan. This is the contrast I'm talking about. And this medical assistance includes both medical visas and the supply of drugs. After the Pulwama terror attack, India had announced the suspension of trade with Pakistan. The most favored nation status was also withdrawn. Import duties were hiked by 200%. Even before Pulwama, India was not a major importer of Pakistani goods. In 2018-19, India-Pakistan trade was barely 0.1%, 0.1% of India's total trade. Pakistani imports were valued below $1 billion, virtually non-existent. But India's exports to Pakistan were more than $2 billion. They fell last year. Pakistan downgraded bilateral ties with India. Pakistan sent back the Indian High Commissioner. The one thing Pakistan could not stop was dependence on Indian medicines.